This is the land of my kinfolk. North Carolina is a homeland for me. I was born in Cape Fear Hospital in Fayetteville. This is both a North Carolinian issue as well as a national one, as has been articulated. It's funny, I was planning on doing an activity where we all stand and get the blood flowing, but that has already been taken care of, so thank you. Thank you. So I'm here in part to help begin to bring this evening home and move us forward together and help determine how we can move this work forward as powerfully as possible, grounded in our spiritual traditions and our own personal narratives around this work. I'll share a little bit of mine with you now before we dive into some of the commitments that we'll collectively begin to consider and commit ourselves to this evening and moving forward. As I said, I was born here. I live in New York now, but it doesn't just end there. I stand here not only with my Reform Jewish colleagues and friends and all of our partners here in this room and nationally around the country, but I also bring my Black, Jewish, and Native American family and elders with me. I carry them with me. My great-grandfather, Dancy Buck Drawhon, bought a tobacco farm of 180 acres in Clinton, North Carolina at the turn of the century. He was a son of former enslaved Africans who became sharecroppers, and by the time he ended his life with his family of 5, he owned his own farm. As we talked about, tonight is Tu B'Av, and it is all about love. And love has sugar, as my Grandma Lou, who also grew up here, loves to say, "Hi, sugar, it's your Grandma Lou. Come give me some sugar, baby." I talked to Sugar Man today. She has so many uses of the word sugar. My favorite one I'll tell you later, because it's not best to talk about from the pulpit. But love isn't just about sugar. It's about justice. It's about accountability. It is about deep listening and commitment and standing side by side with people in love and enduring commitment. I'm inspired in particular by the Black men in my family. My Grandpa Dancy, who I just told you about, my Grandpa Jodell from Okolona, Mississippi, and my father, who in addition to their spirituality, was informed, I believe, by part of the Black American experience in this country, of having seen families ripped apart repeatedly, of having been betrayed repeatedly, and still rising up and maintaining family from a sense of love and connection, when at times that was betrayed by biology and non-consensual acts, and yet, at least in my family and in many Black families I know, we understand a deeper meaning of love and connection that extends beyond biology, which is why you see people in Black families, and I think in other families too, who look nothing like a lot of the other people in the room, but that's Uncle Ben. That's Aunt Susie. That's my sister Karen. I learned about unconditional, deep, committed love from my family. The few times that my father spanked me, I was a pretty good kid, so he didn't do it that often. He would give me a lecture, and he would sit me down, and before he would start to cry, right before he would punish me, he would say, "I'm angry, April, but I'm not angry with you, I'm angry with what you did. But I want you to know there is nothing you could ever do that will make me not love you." And then he'd go through a list when I was 5. If you steal something, if you lie to me, if you go to jail one day, if you tell me you don't love me, there is nothing you could ever do that will make me not love you. And part of what I love about everyone in this room and so many people who are committed to this work around the country is that I believe and I feel and I have faith that there is nothing that can happen that will turn all of you away from doing this sacred and vital work together. As my inspiring colleague, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, said earlier, on Sunday we commemorated Tisha B'Av, a deeply painful, sorrowful and mournful holiday, acknowledging the atrocities that have affected the Jews. In my work around racial justice in this country, I gathered with a group of Jews in New York City where we acknowledged Tisha B'Av in its Jewish sense, but also in the sense of the ways in which state-sanctioned violence, officially or unofficially, affects Black people in this country. And we mourned the lives, some of whose names were mentioned earlier today as well on that holiday. And what I love about this moment is that there's a relationship here. It's interesting to me that just on Sunday, we observed Tisha B'Av, and only a few days later, we're celebrating Tu B'Av, the holiday of love. What is that about? What does that say? Well, one thing I think about, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, is the Black men in my family who have served in this country, who traveled around the world, who built farms, who started businesses, who worked in nuclear arms control as a Green Beret in the military. They dedicated their lives to our family and this country, and I think that that's something a number of us can relate to. And they did this despite the deep and heart-wrenching betrayal of what this country and many people in it continued to do to people of color, but they stayed with them. Like many people all over this country and my family, the Drawhans in this state of North Carolina, despite the repeated betrayal over hundreds of years, we are still here. Reverend Barber and all of his colleagues with the NAACP and our partners are still here to stand up and advocate for our right to vote, to interrupt and stop voter suppression wherever possible, and to stand up for racial justice, standing in the fullness of our identities that we each bring, our own stories as Megan helped us bring into this room. There is power and meaning in that, and we get to leverage that tonight and moving forward. Here's the commitment part, y'all. You ready? So I want to lovingly and wholeheartedly, audaciously, hospitably invite you to pledge to stand together to support the right to vote. Pledge to protect every voter's access to the polls, and pledge to be part of Nitzavim, either as an individual or as a congregation. There are multiple ways to participate. Everybody listening? You ready? You ready? And you can always check the website that we'll go over in a moment. As a congregation, you can commit to ensuring 100% of your congregation's eligible voters exercise their rights on Election Day.
That's right.
Join, this is important to me as a Jew of color, as someone whose grandfather benefited from the advocacy and strength of the NAACP, and to me the belief in the fact that this work needs to be done in deep relationships, so I really love this next one. Join the NAACP in your local community. And as we heard, to honor for the Jews in the room, our foreparents in this work, such as Kivi Kaplan, to honor that legacy, to join the NAACP in your local community, particularly on registering voters, or PICO's work, doing deep canvassing, which is a way to engage meaningfully with potential voters and encourage them to go to the polls. Hold a voter registration drive in your congregation, host a candidates forum, or an issue night to learn about the hot topics that are particularly relevant and of interest to you, and where the people who seek to represent you stand. Again, this theme of accountability. All of these activities are nonpartisan, just to be clear. And there's more information about them on the Nitzavim website and in the Religious Action Center's Get Out the Vote guide. There's more you can do, either as a congregation or as an individual. We know that there are particular areas where access to the polls, actually I want to stop, this is really important, guys. And I actually really, really love this. Because particularly as we work around this racial justice work, I believe it's important that as we do it, I talked about bringing the fullness of our stories, but it's also about bringing the specific skills and knowledge and know-how that we have as individuals, as well as tracking where's the strength in our community and how can we leverage that. So listen closely. We know that there are particular areas where access to the polls is often obstructed. Lawyers, and even those without legal training, are needed on election day to help voters whose right to cast a ballot is being challenged. We're organizing delegations to travel either to Georgia or Ohio to do this work. There will also be opportunities closer to home for you if travel isn't an option. All right, so I want us to do a little exercise together now. Admittedly, it's not going to be quite as inspiring as Reverend Barbara's bones, but I'll do my best. Yeah, as long as you get up. Okay. So, let's do a little exercise together. Who's ready to make a pledge? Yeah. To stay committed to this work? Excellent, excellent. I invite you to stand. And if any of you have this little pledge slip with this website address on it, I welcome you to pull that out. We're going to do a little call and response. So, in addition to the postcards the members of Reverend Barbara's team passed out at the beginning to have you fill out, particularly for North Carolinians, I believe one of his colleagues can collect them at the end of the night. Maybe you can place them on the table. In addition to that, here and around the country, there are many opportunities to engage in this work, some of which I've listed, and we'd like to be able to track that. Because again, love is in part about sugar, but it's also about commitment and accountability. So this website, let's do a little call and response. RAC.org.
RAC.org.
Nitzavim.
Nitzavim.
Actions.
Actions.
That's RAC.
RAC.
.org.
.org.
Backslash. NIT.
NIT.
ZAV.
ZAV.
I am.
A.
CTI.
CTI.
ONS.
ONS.
RAC.org.
RAC.org.
Backslash. Nitzavim Actions.
Nitzavim Actions.
Can everybody commit to visiting this website? Yes. Can everyone here commit to protecting the vote?
Yes.
If you do, please put your hand in the air and say yes.
Yes.
I make this pledge
I make this pledge
to protect the vote.
to protect the vote.
Thank you. If you want, you can sit down now.
No, they gotta stand.
Oh, well, you gotta stand. This work is so vital. Being with us tonight here in Raleigh or watching at home, you've already shown your commitment to voting rights. As Jews and as Americans, as Christians, Muslims, people of faith, people of no faith. We know how important it is to be counted, as we heard earlier, to ensure that no one's voice is silenced. We are your partners, we are your friends, we are your extended family, standing together in love and commitment. Let us continue to stand together, side by side, from now through Election Day and beyond, and do this holy, sacred work together.
Yeah.